cut the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, of course. No, I can't. You
need
talking
to
over the cut.
Introduce us back. Like,
Yeah. I was going
show.
to.
About 14 months since we've done a radio show.
I think this is a better introduction. Right, okay, so yeah, that's what I was going to do. I was going to say hello, welcome to Whatnot Films. We're on YouTube now. It's been a long time since we first did our radio show.
14 months.
This is the first time you've seen our faces. Hello, I'm Bram. I'm the one who spoke first, always. This is Liam. He was the one who spoke the most. And then there was Matt, bless him.
Just moved on to better things.
What is it? Tip 20 to the curb for a last homie. That's
Something
how I feel about Man B. He got married and he left us. Anyway. Right, so sorry?
Terrible times.
So we're coming back today to do a top 10 films of the year so far because we're at way over the halfway point. 2 months after the halfway point. But it's just before those. It's the end of summer.
It's the end of summer. We've seen a lot of films. There's a lot to kind of go back over, I guess.
The dumping ground.
Yeah, we can do it.
We could talk a bit about some film news.
And the summer's been shit. I don't think many films have
come out in the
last 2 months.
So we've just found that.
I don't think there's been any films in the last 2 months that are worth particularly talking about, so we'll be fine to just ignore
them. And it's just before that Oscar season starts as well.
It is.
Before they start tainting your list by being brilliant. Well, we'll crack on with our top 10s. I'm going to kick it off with my first one, number 10, which is The Witch. That's it, number 10, The Witch. It's one of those, for the past few years, we've had that one horror film that's shone out every year, The Babadook it's been. And I think this year it is The Witch. It was truly haunting and terrifying. And one of the things that I really appreciated about it was how it constantly kept with the language was hard to understand, especially I bet for a foreign audience actually, but it was very hard to understand as English people, and it was an old English, so it stuck to that language. It kept an authenticity about it, and we knew that there was something there. You know, a lot of horror films, the fear comes, they play with like, what is there something there? What's going on? Like The Boy we've had this year as well. Is there something going on with that doll? Is it moving? Is it alive? And then you find out later, whatever it is. But with The Witch, we knew something was going wrong. We knew there was, but it still played with this, is there something going on? Because we watched it as the family, and the performances were key to it completely.
Yeah, I love The Witch. In fact, I'll be talking about it later.
Yeah,
so
I thought you would be.
So we'll wait till then. But I'm kicking off my number 10 with a horror film as well. Ding! Brown will edit that in later.
Yeah, I'll put that down.
10 Cloverfield Lane. A movie that was unannounced. We didn't really know it was coming. I think it worked under the working title Valencia or something. Now, it's the opposite for me. You said the great thing about The Witch was you knew something was there. I think the great thing about 10 Cloverfield Lane was we didn't really. Like, we kind of knew there was something. Or was there? You know, and I'm not going to spoil it, actually. But yeah, I mean, like, it kind of had this whole Twilight Zone thing going on. One of the best performances of the year for me, John Goodman, also one of the best twerking scenes of the year from John Goodman. Yeah, everything about it I thought was great. It was really tense. I mean, there's been a bit of kind of discussion about the ending and whether it was tacked on or not. From my understanding, apparently, like, it was actually just tacked on by a studio and given the Cloverfield title. Yeah. Look, fine. Either way, I enjoyed it thoroughly from start to finish. I've seen it twice now, actually, and enjoyed it more second time, in fact. So yeah, number 10 for me, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, like, there are bad ways to repackage something and just put a pre-existing title on top of it, but Cloverfield, it was okay. Dan Trachtenberg was working on, I think it wasn't called Room, it was called something like Shelter. Yeah. Or something like that, and then they did tag that on.
Yeah. Well, I think it worked fine.
My number 9 is Finding Dory, actually. Okay. I wasn't sure what to expect. I mean, we know what Pixar's sequel output is like. It can be Toy Story 3, it can be Cars 2. So I wasn't sure what to expect going into Finding Dory, but I appreciate that Ellen DeGeneres clearly loves that character that she made. I think she's been pestering Pixar for years to make a sequel for it, and I think it really paid off. They they treat it with a sensitivity of like it's people suffering with disabilities in real life, and they're Finding Dory in the way Alan plays it, and the echolocation guy. It's incredibly funny. There's still laugh out loud moments. Finding Nemo, I don't remember as endearingly as most people do. To be honest, I enjoy it, but I think it's held higher. It's held in higher regard than it should actually be compared to others.
I think for me it's kind of slightly been tainted by reruns constantly in like geography class and stuff.
I think that might be what it is.
Rewatch, and I'm pretty sure most British people will understand
Yeah.
that problem. But for me, yeah, Finding Dory was great, and I actually found it a lot more subtle than some other Disney, Pixar movies in terms of its message. And like you said, it was kind of the whole thing about people with kind of disabilities looking at the world in their own way. You know, you had the one with the messed up sonar. The one with who was short-sighted, the septopus, of course, as well. Like, for me that was very subtle, and I kind of even didn't clock it at the time. I kind of sat and thought about it, which I thought was great. And yeah, I'm with you. I loved it. I would say personally, it's kind of more Monsters University than Toy Story 3 in terms of like the sequels.
Oh yeah,
I'd kind of put it around there. But yeah, I enjoyed it still nonetheless. I thought it expanded the universe as well, like really, really well, which is something a sequel should always want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, number 9 for me. Ding. There's sorry, man. There's a Green Room.
Jeremy Saulnier.
Yeah, I'm glad you said his name.
That's why I did it. I
yeah.
thought you'd want me to.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great. Have you seen it yet, actually?
No.
Okay.
I've still only seen Blue.
Yeah, tense. Really good fun though as well. Like it's tense, but it's stupidly like violent, and it's kind of like a grindhouse film in a lot of ways. Patrick Stewart is really well cast actually as well.
Oh yeah.
Imogen Poots, who disappeared, I think for like the best part of 2 years really. She kind of boomed onto the scene and then went off it a little bit, but she's back. She's kind of just like beating up Nazis, which is great. Anton Yelchin, of course, is brilliant in the movie, and yeah, everything about it. It's a really good, fun film, so I'd highly recommend it.
But what did we have from Imogen Poots before?
I mean, I remember being in
Like
Need for Speed.
she was in, and she was in like rom-com thing, was she?
The Zac Efron one.
Yeah, that's it.
The Awkward Moment.
The Awkward Moment.
That one, yeah.
That's why.
But she kind of come onto the scene. She didn't really do anything interesting, but she was
Yeah.
always the best thing about them films. And then, yeah, for me, Green Room actually uses her talent in an interesting way. And yeah, I'd highly recommend checking it out. I mean, it didn't get a big release, so check it out.
Okay, and that was your number 8.
9.
That was your number 9.
Yeah.
Therefore, it is my number 8, which is the BFG. I didn't expect this to be a top 10 film. Top 10 kind of film. I thought it was going to be enjoyable. But I think it really captured what Spielberg is so good at. Not just his storytelling, but also his keen eye for the camera. The entire film was a journey, the way he used the camera to take us into the Giants world, and it's a perfect story for Spielberg's effective storytelling. The young girl, that played brilliant performance as Sophie, and Mark Rylance, seeing that kind of thespian actor apply it to motion capture, and he was, a bit of a bumbling fool. The fizz bangers and whiz boppers, all of that. I'm completely sold on all of that. All that Roald Dahl, fizz bangers, whiz boppers, and stuff.
I really enjoyed it. It's not made my top 10, but I think it's been one of the better films of the summer, and I agree. I think Mark Rylance carries it a lot. I do think it's kind of magical. For me, I think it had a few pacing issues, and was kind of the thing that slightly ruined it for me, I guess. But on the whole, no, I enjoyed it as a kind of family-friendly blockbuster. I think I'd like to see more from Rylance and Spielberg as well together.
Oh, yeah.
This is like a partnership, so
Yeah.
that should be interesting. Okay, number 8 for me. Ding! The Hateful Eight. I really, really liked The Hateful Eight. Hateful Eight, what are you looking at?
I was just thinking about whether it's...
It is 2016.
Yeah.
And so we should also point out, when we were on the radio, we tended to avoid films that were Oscar nominated for Best Film, so that's okay. That's it, because it wasn't.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, but I loved it. In fact, it's kind of got its detractors, I think, in people who just said it was kind of indulgent and whatever. But for me, that's Tarantino. I actually think Django was indulgent, and I felt Inglourious Basterds was indulgent.
Oh.
So, like, as much as I love them two films, I think this is a return to form, Tarantino. It's for me, it's like Reservoir Dogs meets kind of thing. You know, but I loved every performance. I loved every character, and I love the fact. I mean, you kind of shot it on. It was beautifully shot, but it was shot in a cabin. But that's kind of Tarantino, and it's great. And the ending is hilarious. It's horrible. It's Tarantino through and through. And for me, it was a return to form for him. The dialogue was whip smart. I loved everything about it. And yeah, it's long, but it's indulgent. But so is Django and Old Range. So.
Yeah, you made some interesting points with Django and Inglourious, because Inglourious is one of my favourites, and it is overindulgent, but I think it works with Inglourious. I think that scene in the bar goes on for so long, but it's perfect.
Yeah, I think they're both good films, but I don't think they're up there with his best. And I think Hateful Eight was.
Yeah, I do agree.
So great. Number 7.
Number 7, Cloverfield Lane.
Number 7, Cloverfield Lane.
What are you joining?
It's number 10. Yeah, this is fine, but it's number 10 Cloverfield Lane. You said number 7 Cloverfield Lane.
That was your number 10.
That was my number 10.
It's my number 7. Number 10 Cloverfield Lane. 10 Cloverfield Lane. In at 7.
Yeah.
7. 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, great time, yeah.
And my number 7 is 10 Cloverfield Lane. I think it's not going to happen, but an Oscar-worthy performance from John Goodman. Absolutely, not one doubt in my mind. He won't get it. I don't mean there's no doubt in my mind that he'll win it. He won't win it. He won't even get the nomination. But it was that first one that you get in the year where you're like, that was an Oscar winner. That was an Oscar-worthy performance. And Dan Trachtenberg, yeah, so he was working on that shot for a long time, and you could tell it was born out of something, and then something else was tagged on the end of it, but it worked, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was like jumping out of this. I think every moment for her in her life from that moment, because of that phone call we get at the start, she's clearly running away from something. Every moment from that for her was jumping out of the saucepan into the fire kind of thing. Yeah. Then she ends up in there, then John Goodman saves her, gets her in the shelter. And I think it was a really smart narrative, really well acted, and I don't know, I didn't classify it as a horror like you did. You straight up went in there with another horror film, blah blah blah.
For me, it's very Twilight Zone-esque.
It is. J.J. Abrams' fingerprints are absolutely all over it. That moment at the start with the when the credits are coming up,
yeah,
that was J.J. Abrams' idea, and the whole Twilight. He loves Twilight Zone. J.J. Abrams famously. So yeah, it makes sense. That's a good comparison that I definitely agree with, and is why one of the reasons why it's my number 7.
Okay, so my number 7, ding, is Captain America: Civil War. One of your favourites, I imagine, definitely. For me, I think it's the peak. It's the best film Marvel have done. I, unlike a lot of people, kind of got a bit tired of the Marvel formula. You know, it works, but I'm kind of just a bit bored of it. I don't get anything new, and for me, Civil War, I don't see them getting any better than this. I love the Russos. Out and out, I thought the introduction of new characters was brilliant. Black Panther was great. Spider-Man was great. An actual worthwhile villain who seemed like he had a motive, one that you could understand as well, as opposed to, you know, I'd want to get that stone or something. It was like, I could understand him. I felt from Daniel Bruhl, a great actor. Yeah, exactly. And for me, yeah, it was brilliant. The best one they've done so far.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's my number 7. So your number 6.
My number 6. Hail Caesar. Okay. Hail Caesar, the new Coen Brothers film from earlier this year. It was rip-roaringly fun. It was a love letter to cinema. But it was that classic Coen Brothers tale anyway, with the way it's real life. You know, like what they did with Fargo, this is a real life story. But because of that studio head, what's his name? Josh Brolin plays him. I can't remember, but he's actually a real studio head, but he was nothing like what they showed us in Hail Caesar. But it was hilarious. It was George Clooney it was great to see him back with the Coen Brothers again. I love it when he does those comedies with the Coen Brothers. He always performs well in them. They always get some he's got a. I can't quite put my finger on it, but his sense of humour is much more different when he's with the Coen brothers than you see him in other films when he works with different people. But Hail Caesar, yeah, hilarious, funny, and very smartly written as well.
Yeah, and I think you can enjoy it in both ways as well. Like, it is a love letter to cinema, and there is kind of the politics behind it as well. But you can completely ignore that 100%. And but for me, you didn't mention Aidan Eldrick. Who is the star.
Yes.
The star. I can't wait to see him. Is Han Solo.
Yeah, I know.
He was
If
incredible.
it still definitely happens.
It is happening.
Yeah, I know, kind of.
Right, okay, we'll talk about that another time. So which one was 6? Was it?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so my number 6, ding, is Weiner. A documentary.
Really?
Yeah, about Anthony Weiner, who ran for American president, New York mayor in 2012. And I don't know how much you know about Anthony Weiner.
Yeah.
He
so
was
I know
a naughty man,
Anthony Weiner.
but like not that
It's
naughty
his
really.
name. Oh,
yeah, it
so
is. And there's this kind of the
film.
film actually opens with a quote about like I can't remember the quote, but something about the man's name punished him. It was a punishment anyway, and that is the case for him. But like, he did some stuff, Americans. I'm sorry, but like, it wasn't that bad, was it? Really,
He tweeted it out instead of sending a
pictures. Yeah, like, which is a bit silly, but and like it's a really fascinating. It's a fly on the wall documentary, and it's really fascinating actually watching. So basically, they all forgive him and well done, and then he come back to the mayor race in 2012, and then it turned out he'd been doing it again, naughty boy, and the documentary just watches his downfall effectively. I think at one point he's like the least popular mayor candidate ever, or one of the quickest drop ever, or something along those lines. But yeah, it's fascinating to watch. And it kind of does make you question the nature of kind of the media and stuff as well, because you see these talk show clips talking about him. I think it obviously depends on your stance on it, but for me, I was watching it like, what's that? What like?
Oh, that poor guy.
Yeah, he's just like, he shouldn't.
He
shouldn't be sending pictures of his willy. I'm not condoning what he did, but like it basically ruined the guy's life. His wife could forgive him, you know.
His wife.
And he's actually, you know, you can see why he got to the position he's in. He's a very charismatic guy. But for me, it's just a really fascinating documentary, and you don't want to look away at times. It's cringeworthy, but you're like, wow, this is madness, real madness. And I really, really loved every minute of it. So for me, at number 6, Weiner.
What's surprising is his unrelenting. He just lets him. He doesn't. Something bad. He's not like, oh, can we not like film this now?
Yeah.
He's just like, right, no, this documentary crew. No, I haven't, but I've heard.
Okay. And that's kind of what makes it so great. He does allow him to be a fly on the wall throughout it all. I think there's one point where he asks him to leave the room, but that's it. For me, it's great. And he's got a great desire as well. The guy doesn't quit.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I'll show my willy to a few people. Can we talk about the Bronx? Can we talk about this? Can we? For me, that's the politician you want anyway. Someone who's not fazed by their private life.
I completely agree.
You know, it's not a. Yeah, it shows what circus politics can be at times, I think. So yeah, it's really worth watching.
Right, that was your number 6. My number 5 is Victoria.
Oh, okay.
It came out last year in America and Germany, but we didn't get it over here until a few months ago, I believe. And it's all shot in one continuous take, but it's actually shot in one continuous take, I believe.
Okay.
It's
so no clever editing.
No, they did. I think they did it four times. The third time was the one that got released. Okay. Second time they messed up halfway through, so they had to go back to the start. Literally,
how long is it?
This is how it's shot. I think it clocks in about 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Wow.
Yes. It's an impressive feat.
Okay.
And it starts off as one thing, and it very much changes halfway through. I don't really want to go too much into that, but at the beginning you find it very endearingly getting swept up in this. You kind of meet her as a prim and proper kind of musician. That's the kind of sense you get of her. But she's kind of ready to let go, and she's running off in the night with these German men who she's never met before. And it takes a turn later on, but it's a very clever. It's not just a trick. The immersiveness is very important, because it's also not overproduced. Like, it is very the way it starts off, it just the world just opens out all of a sudden. But the way that it does that, how it is closed to begin with, I think you've talked about it before with is it Mommy, where the
frame,
all of a sudden expands. It's not quite like that, but it's very low res to begin with, and you are in this experience of just walking around the streets of Germany, getting drunk with these German people.
Okay.
But yeah, it changes later on.
Okay. Actually, I believe as well that's available on Netflix, not in the UK, but in the States and Canada. I believe. Any Americans? I wasn't say any states. Any Americans? Any Americans or Canadians watching it? I believe you can watch it.
Any United Statesmen?
Yeah, that works.
Number 5, Victoria. That's halfway through the list.
It is. Number 5 for me. Ding! Is Anomalisa. Which, yeah, I loved. In fact, I think it was the first film I saw this year. But yeah, it's Charlie Kaufman. It's a film about puppets. One puppet in particular who hears the same voice over and over and over and over again until he meets someone who doesn't have it. Called Lisa. But yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating story. It's a kind of real, interesting examination of kind of the human condition in a lot of ways. It's somewhat ironically, I guess, the most human film made in the last few years. I think it's really emotionally powerful, really intelligent. Everything about it's superb. The voice performances are phenomenal. Jennifer Jason Leigh.
No, that's right.
Yeah, that's. She was in the Hateful Eight, as we talked about earlier, but she's really brilliant in this as well as Lisa, and it kind of does this really smart thing where you are completely with the guy. So the moment you hear a new voice yourself, you kind of like, well, you know, and yeah, I loved everything about it. I love Charlie Kaufman generally, but for me, this is up there with his best.
Absolutely, I agree, and that is why it's my ting.
Why are you bringing it in now?
Number 4.
You haven't tinged the whole time.
I just thought because
I
was making reference to it, and it will definitely be there.
Okay.
I don't know if it will be.
Okay.
But it will be.
Okay.
So yeah, Anomalisa, I agree with everything you're saying. It's about it's about the human condition. It's about what it is to meet people. What it is to understand your place in the world in terms of other people. It's about so much. It's about love as well at the same time. I mean, the ending. I don't, without giving it away, you appreciate what I mean about the doll that he buys.
Yeah.
It's some parts of it I still can't quite process, but what it makes me question makes me happy. The film makes me happy about what it makes me question.
Brown getting deep on us, but yeah, that's true. I completely agree. I do think it's brilliant. Yeah.
So that was your number 5, my number 4.
Okay, so my number 4.
4.
Ting is Zootopia Tropolis.
I don't. Which one is it over here?
I think it's Zootropolis in the UK. Well, I'm not sure. I saw it in the Czech Republic.
Yes, it is Zootropolis.
So it was a Czech
what was
title. Zoo something. I'm not really sure. You know the film I'm talking about. It's brilliant. I really, really loved it. In fact, it feels incredibly relevant after with recent political events. I feel like there's kind of a real political subtext to the movie, which is powerful. There's also, it's my favourite character of the year, Mr. Big. Is it? I loved Mr. Big. You heard of that?
What? It's gotta be the sloth. Oh,
yeah, the sloth. Yeah, but it's such a great film, and it's one of Disney's best films in a long time. For me, every single minute of it. I watched it 3 times now, maybe, and I still laugh consistently. And like I say, there's this kind of message which I think is really important. It's kind of subtly there as well, and only Disney can make a film with that kind of message and aim it at children. I think it's brilliant. So yeah, well done Disney again, I suppose.
Yes, I do agree. That is Probably an honourable mention for me. My number 3 is Captain America: Civil War. It's the smartest superhero movie we've seen from Marvel so far. I think it's fair to say it's the darkest. I think it twists the knife the most.
Yeah.
We've seen. It's setting up.
It sets up more.
It sets up more, but I think it's not one of those ones we've had in the past where it's done too much setting up, and you're a bit like, well, where's the film now? We want the film. It's what Age of Ultron should have been, almost. Age of Ultron turned out to be a brilliant setup for Civil War in retrospect, but it developed our characters so much. We also got Vision, preppy Vision. That was great. A bit of fun, but yeah, just the best Marvel film we've seen so far. Definitely my favourite.
Yeah, I'd agree. As I did earlier.
Yes.
Yeah. Number 3 for me.
What number was it for you? I forgot.
7.
The listeners will know.
Here somewhere.
Yeah.
So number 3?
Call below.
Number 3, yeah?
Yes, number 3.
Bing! Number 3 for me is The Witch. Which, as you talked about earlier, yeah, but I loved it, everything about it. I wanted The Witch to end. I watched the last 15 minutes and I wanted it to end. I was like, please just end now, because it was really under my skin. And the way that film has not been for a long, long time. And there's a scene, without giving too much away, there's a scene towards the end of The Witch, the scene I'm talking about at the end, basically, where just the noise disappears. And it's like, wow. Like, everything just disappears and it's horrible. But I've not been that affected by a film for a long, long time. And for me, Robert Eggers deserves, I hope I'm saying his name right, I've remembered it right, but it's a debut feature, which is incredible. Like, I cannot wait to see what this guy's got left. Phenomenal. And for a long time, in fact, until I saw my top 2, this was my number 1 for a lot of the year. Yeah, I loved every minute of it. But I didn't love it, because it terrified the life out of me. But I can't say that about many films. I think The Babadook did it. Not quite. I mean, there's one scene in The Babadook that terrifies me every time I watch it still. In the window.
Yeah, oh no.
It's horrible. Treats the life out of me. But The Witch, that ending, that silence. Oh, it was piercing, and it really was really, really tough for me, and I loved it, yeah. I think it's the best horror film of the last 5 years.
And Philip is, like, up for Best Animal, definitely.
Oh, Crazy Philip, yeah. Like, when I've been in Prague, I saw a Black Philip, and I was terrified of him. Like, really scared. But I think it's brilliant, everything about it. So yeah, well done, Robert. Nice one, mate. Well done, Rob.
Now,
I'm intrigued by your top 2.
Well, I think I might have made a mistake.
You can't count.
No, because I forgot about the Oscar rule.
That doesn't matter. We've gone 7
We'll
films
bypass that.
Yeah.
Number 2, Room, with Brie Larson and Jacob Tremblay. 2 lead performances that not only had to be brilliant, but were brilliant. And the film is something, another one that is another star that's cropped up again, where it changes all of a sudden halfway through. You can kind of see it coming with Room, but certainly that was not what I was expecting. And it was very tense. It was very smart, very poignant. It hit hard at home, even though it was about something which potentially I may never experience.
No one would want a kid, right?
Well, exactly. But maybe they might.
They might.
So, but I think I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, it still had a lot of pathos for me.
Yeah, for me, obviously, we had the Oscar rule that you forgot about, because Room probably would have been my number 1. But I really I think it's superb. And I cried like 3 times. Every time I watched it as well, not just the first time. I think that's always a good testament when you know something's coming and it breaks my balls. Really breaks my balls. So, yeah, fair shout. But it's not in mine because of the rules, the parameters.
Yeah, so what's your rule? What's your number 2?
My number 2 is a film that did break my balls as well. 2. When Marnie was there. Studio Ghibli's latest, the last, potentially. As a separate studio. I believe they did a film at Cannes, but it was a co-production. I'm not really sure. But yeah, When Marnie Was There is about a young girl who goes away for the summer and meets a girl called Marnie.
Okay.
and they just go to like a boat, like a lake place, a Japanese place, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
And
Sorry.
but they develop this relationship, and the ending is heartbreaking, like in a good way. But I mean, it's just kind of really poignant. Made me cry. So well done. And yeah, I loved it. It was beautiful. It's a beautiful film. So I highly recommend it. I think it's out on DVD in a few weeks. So
Yeah, the DVD
Check it out.
turn around.
check it out, definitely. I mean, I don't even think it's up there with their best, but it's certainly a powerful film. That just the last 10 minutes destroyed me and elevated it massively.
I will check it out.
Okay. To number 1 for Brown.
Well, my number 1 is the Academy's number 1 as well. It's the Best Picture winner, Spotlight.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh, wow, don't pull that face. Why?
I really liked Spotlight. For me, it was kind of a proper Academy favourite type film that was always going to win Best Picture. Really, it is very televisual. I don't remember it as strongly as I remember, say, Room.
See, I don't think it was televisual.
I think Mad Max was better too.
That was last year.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying I don't think it should win
Right.
Best Picture.
Spotlight was brilliant. You saw my review. I don't know if you read my review. I did a review. I'll put it up online. Anyway, I think it wasn't. It was. I don't think it was televisual. I think it was.
I thought it was brilliant.
I think it was lightly, minutely directed, down to like every little bit. I think once we were in the story and we kind of, as journalists, not us as journalists, but their characters as journalists, once they knew what the story was, every single establishing shot from that point showed a church in the background. Or something, or a cross, or something that was just remind us that guy walking around the park, talking about his experience for the first time, and there's children just playing in the park, and there's a church. It was just little directing touches like that, as well as the incredible ensemble performance that made it for me.
Okay, no, fair enough. I mean, I did really like it. Like I say, didn't have it as your number 1.
It didn't even have that standout moment. I was worried about. I think we did get it a little bit with Mark Ruffalo, but I was worried about.
I think Mark Ruffalo hammed it up a bit.
Oh, see, I don't think he did. I was worried that it was going to be worse then, maybe. I was worried about a bit of a hamming up towards the end. And I didn't feel Mark Ruffalo did. I have heard other people say it other than you, but I don't feel that way.
Okay. Number 1 for me.
Mine
It's about Ian, isn't it? Ting!
Yeah. We'll see.
Again.
I don't know, we'll see.
I've been pretty inconsistent, I'm sorry. Number 1, ting! For me, is Sing Street. I loved every single minute of Sing Street. I walked out of Sing Street, and I think it's one of the only films I've walked out of and just thought, hey, I love that. Like, completely, 100%. Like, it just won me over. It was charming, it's funny. The soundtrack is brilliant, and the best soundtrack since Inside Llewyn Davis. Just like, yeah, everything about it is great.
Oh, really?
Everything. I don't even have a lot to say about it because I just walked out and was like, wow, I just fell in love with it straight off the bat. Funny, charming, kind of poignant, brilliant soundtrack, cracking performances. The attention to detail in terms of time period is brilliant. It's the 80s, so the soundtrack's obviously kind of fun as well. I've watched it 3 times now and still loved it every time. I'd watch it right now. In fact, probably the only film that I have wanted more from. I just want to know more of the story because I just love the characters that much and I fell in love with them. So yeah, Sing Street, my number 1.
I'm yet to watch it, unfortunately.
We'll watch it.
Sorry?
We'll watch it after this.
Oh, okay. We're going to watch... Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for listening. Those were our top 10 films of the year.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to watch Sing Street now, apparently. Yeah, so it went well.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was the first time we've done it for a while.
Yeah, geez, we should do a subscribe thing.
Subscribe.
Down here.
It'll get better.
Yeah. Subscribe.
This is our first time.
Subscribe. Whatnotfilms.com.
Yeah. whatnotfilms.co.uk or .com. It'll take you straight to the website where all the written content is. We'll be doing more, pumping more into that eventually. It's my birthday in 5 days.
So wish Brown happy birthday.
Thank you. And we'll see you again soon.